Hello and welcome to this Magic the Gathering Dungeons and Dragons crossover box opening. We've got a draft booster box of Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. We're going to be opening this up for singles to sell in store on release. And without further ado, let's get started. So while we're getting started here, I'll just let everyone know again, we just go and look at the rares and the uncommons. We don't look at any of the commons unless there's some commons of particular interest. Let us know what you think of the new set down in the comments. Alrighty. So we've got a Hand of Vicina as our first rare. And then Wild Shape, Death Priest of Merkul, and Ingenious Smith are our uncommons from that pack. So we're obviously hoping to snag some of the Planeswalkers, possibly even a card like Tasha's Hideous Laughter. We can see here one of the dungeons. Newest mechanic, Venture into the Dungeon. Foil rare in our second pack. So we've got a foil rare Flump. 0/4, 2 mana, defender with flying, and whenever it is dealt damage, you and target opponent each draw a card. Here's another one of the new mechanics, the classes. So we've got Monk class here. To start with, the second spell you cast each turn costs 1 less. Then, when it becomes level 2, you can return up to 1 target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. And at level 3, at the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. For as long as it remains exiled, it has you may cast this card from exile as long as you've cast another card this turn. Or another spell, rather. And then we've got Purple Worm, Battlecry Goblin, and Goblin Morningstar. Another mine here, Lost Mine of Fandelver. I also like the flavor text that they're putting on the lands now. Right, we have Nadar, Selfless Paladin, one of the stronger Venture cards. It's a 3/3 mana Vigilance, and whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, venture into the dungeon. As long as you have completed a dungeon, your other creatures get +1/+1. Then we have Burning Hands, Trelisard Moondancer, and another Goblin Morningstar. Here we go, another dungeon, Dungeon of the Mad Mage. We have a Swamp. Rare is a Vorpal Sword, quite a strong one. So 1 mana, equipped creature has Death Touch and +2/+0, and you can pay 8 mana, and until end of turn it gains whenever it deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. We have a Guild Thief, Bag of Holding, and a Barrowin of Clan Undur. Another dungeon, Tomb of Annihilation. Plains, Our rare is a treasure chest. So you pay 4 and sacrifice it. Roll a d20. If you roll a 1, you lose 3 life. You roll a 2 to 9, you create 5 treasure tokens. A 10 till 19, you gain 3 life and draw 3 cards. And if you roll a 20, search your library for a card. If it's an artifact, you may put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, put that card into your hand, then shuffle. Interpret Outlander, Keen-eared Sentry, and White Dragon. Rare is a Werewolf Pack Leader. This one's quite a strong card, so it's just a 2 mana 3/3. Whenever it attacks, if you attacked with creatures of total power 6 or greater this combat, draw a card. And if you pay 4 until end of turn, it becomes... it has base power and toughness 5/3 and is not a human. Ray of Frost, Keen-eared Sentry, Faraday Devil's Chosen. Now, first mythic here, Imarith Desert Doom. 5 mana 5/5 with flying, has ward 4 as long as it's untapped, and when it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Then if you have fewer than 3 cards in your hand, draw cards equal to the difference. It's quite a strong creature there. Kallian Recluse Painter, Tagnar Demon Fang Knoll, and Tiger Tribe Hunter. Rare this pack is the Blackstaff of Waterdeep. So it's a 1 blue for a legendary enchantment. You may choose not to untap it during your untap step, and you can pay 2 and tap it. Another target non-token artifact you control becomes a 4/4 artifact creature as long as you control the Blackstaff and it remains tapped. Rare Frost, Demigorgon's Clutches, and Dryder. Got a foil uncommon here, 50 Feet of Rope. We have a Forsworn Paladin as our rare. A 1 mana 1/1 with Menace. You can pay 2 and tap it to pay 1 life and create a treasure token. And you can pay 3. Target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. If mana from a treasure was spent to activate this ability, it also gains Death Touch until end of turn. Then we have Hammer Pasha Ruin Seeker, Trelasar Moon Dancer, and Portable Hole. Quite a powerful uncommon here that was spoiled early on. So when Portable Hole enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent an opponent controls with mana value 2 or less until it leaves the battlefield. There we go. Second mythic is a planeswalker. It's Zariel, Archduke of Avernus. 4 mana, 4 loyalty planeswalker. Zariel. +1, creatures you control get +1 and gain haste until end of turn. 0, create a 1/1 devil creature token with when this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. And -6, you get an emblem with at the end of your first combat phase on your turn, untap target creature you control. After this phase, there is an additional combat phase. Then we have Hunter's Mark. Critical hit. And another Faraday Devil's Chosen. This time, the non-showcase version. We have a Showcase Volo, Guide to Monsters. A 4 mana 3/2, Legendary Human Wizard. Whenever you cast a creature spell that doesn't share a creature type with a creature you control or a creature in your graveyard, copy that spell. Then we have Fly, Barbarian class, and a borderless blue dragon. Our rare for this pack is Dancing Sword. 2 mana, gives a creature +2/+1, and when equipped creature dies, you may have it become a 2/1 construct artifact creature with flying and ward 1. If you do, it isn't an equipment. Then split the party. You find some prisoners and power word kill. Right, we have Fighter class. Costs Boros or Lawhold, whichever one you choose to call it. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for an equipment card, reveal it and put it into your hand. Level 2, equip abilities you activate cost 2 less to activate. And at level 3, whenever a creature you control attacks, up to 1 target creature blocks it this combat if able. Power of Persuasion, Dungeon Map, and Wandering Troubadour. Here's a cool one. Delina Wild Mage. A 4 mana 3/2 legendary elf shaman. When it attacks, you choose target creature you control, then roll a d20. If you get a 1 to 14, you create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of that creature, except it's not legendary, and it has exile this creature at end of combat. And if you get a 15 to 20, create one of those tokens and roll again. So depending on how you roll, it can storm off pretty quickly. Loathsome Troll, Reaper's Talisman, and Cleric class. We have a Foil Drider. And our mythic is the Tarasque. So It is a 9 mana 10/10 dragon, legendary creature. Not dragon, sorry, dinosaur, legendary creature. The Tarasque has haste and ward 10 as long as it was cast. And whenever it attacks, it fights target creature defending player controls. Then we have Hunter's Mark, Warlock class, and Displacer Beast. Alrighty, we have Gelatinous Cube. That's a word I don't typically use. So it's a 4 mana 4/3. It is an ooze. And when it enters the battlefield, exile target non-ooze creature an opponent controls until it leaves the battlefield. Then you can pay X and a black. Put target creature card with mana value X exiled with Gelatinous Cube into its owner's graveyard. Then we have Wizard class, Iron Golem, and Chaos Channeler. Ooh. We have a borderless mythic here, Inferno of the Star Mounts. So it's a 6 mana 6/6 dragon, can't be countered, has flying and haste, and has fire breathing. And if its power becomes 20 by fire breathing, it deals 20 to any target. So pretty strong mana sink in red. Then we have Loathsome Troll, Ray of Enfeeblement, and Barrowin of Clan Undur. We have Instrument of the Bards, a 1 mana green legendary artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a harmony counter on it, and then you can pay 4 and tap it. Search your library for a creature card with mana value equal to the number of harmony counters on it and put it into your hand. If that creature is legendary, create a treasure token, then shuffle. And then our uncommons are Moonblessed Cleric, Red Dragon, and Grim Wanderer. So that Instrument of the Bards, fairly powerful card, especially in Commander. Ooh. Here's a fancy card. A foil borderless Ebondeath Dracolith. 4 mana 5/2 with flash and flying, enters the battlefield tapped. You may cast it from your graveyard if a creature not named Ebondeath Dracolich died this turn. Then we have a Orb of Dragonkind, 2 mana red artifact. Pay 1 and tap it. To add 2 mana in any combination of colors, spend this mana only to cast dragon spells or activate abilities of dragons. And then you can pay red, tap it, and sacrifice it. You may look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may reveal a dragon card from among them and put it into your hand, and then put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Our uncommons here are You Happened Upon a Glade, Critical Hit, and Rally Maneuver. Then we have a Wizard's Spellbook. So 7 mana, you can tap it and exile target instant or sorcery from a graveyard, roll a d20, activate only as a sorcery. 1 to 9, copy that card and you may cast the copy. 10 to 19, copy that card. You may cast the copy by paying 1 rather than paying its mana cost. And 20, copy each card exiled with Wizard's Spellbook. You may cast any number of the copies without paying their mana costs. Power of Persuasion, Moonblessed Cleric, and you see a pair of goblins. Another foil mythic here, a foil the Tarasque. So I already read that card, but it's a nice one in foil. Then we have Sphere of Annihilation, another very strong card. X and black for an artifact. Enters the battlefield with X void counters on it, and then at the beginning of your upkeep, exile it and all creatures and planeswalkers with mana value less than or equal to the number of void counters on it. And all creature and planeswalker cards in graveyards with mana value less than or equal to the number of void counters on it. So a very, very strong hate card there. We have Lurking Roper, Rust Monster, and Eccentric Apprentice. Our rare here is Paladin class. So at the first level, spells your opponents cast during your turn cost 1 more to cast. At its second level, creatures you control get +1/+1. And at its third level, whenever you attack until end of turn, target attacking creature gets +1/+1 for each other attacking creature and gains double strike. We then have Gretchen Twitchwillow, Burning Hands, and Lightfoot Rogue. That's a nice one to get. Foil Forest there. Then our rare is Cave of the Frost Dragon. If you control 2 or more other lands, it enters the battlefield tapped. Taps for a white, or you can pay 4 and it becomes a 3/4 white dragon creature with flying until end of turn that is still a land. And then Sudden Insight, Dragon's Disciple, and you see a pair of goblins. Oh, here's another one. Hall of the Storm Giants. If you control 2 or more lands again, it enters tapped. Taps for a blue. You can pay 6, and until end of the turn, it becomes a 7/7 blue giant creature with ward 3 that is still a land. And we have Bruenor Battlehammer, Cloister Gargoyle, and Skullport Merchant as our uncommons. A forest, a hill giant herd gorger rather, and a Circle of Dreams Druid. So it's a 3 mana, 2/1 elf druid, and it is effectively a Gaia's Cradle on a creature. Tap it to add green for each creature you control. Another interesting fact, Sam Guy, who shares a considerable artistic resemblance to Rebecca Guy, one of Magic's most popular and most famous artists over the years, had to come out and say that he was not, in fact, related to Rebecca, but interestingly did have some mentorship from her. So just a little fun fact there. Prosperous Innkeeper, Shesra, Death's Whisper, and Magic Missile. A foil showcase Manticore. Not sure how well the camera is picking that up, but that foiling in the background looks really nice. It's just a nice mirror effect. There is a Tush's Hideous Laughter. 3 mana for a sorcery. Each opponent exiles from the top of their library until that player has exiled cards with total mana value 20 or more. Very strong mill spell. We have another Gretchen Twitchbelow, another Ray of Enfeeblement, and a You Met in a Tavern. Our foil here is a +2 mace. Fairly straightforward. It's 2 mana, gives equip creature +2/+2, and is 3 to equip. Our rare is a Bard class. At its first level, legendary creatures you control enter the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on them. Level 2, legendary spells you cast costs Gruul less to cast. This effect reduces only the amount of coloured mana you pay. And at level 3, whenever you cast a legendary spell, exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play them this turn. Then we have Trickster's Talisman, check for traps, and You Meet in a Tavern. On to what looks like our final 9 packs here. So a foil Ray of Frost, and the Book of Exalted Deeds is another mythic. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, create a 3/3 white angel creature token with flying. And you can pay 3 and tap it and exile it. Put an enlightened counter on target angel. It gains You Can't Lose the Game and your opponents can't win the game. Activate only as a sorcery. Then we have Cradle of Baldur's Gate, 50 Feet of Rope, and Monk of the Open Hand. Hobgoblin Bandit Lord is our rare. 3 mana, Goblin Lord. You can pay red and tap it, and it deals damage equal to the number of goblins that entered the battlefield under your control this turn to any target. So that one is going to be quite a haymaker in Cranko decks. Got Hulking Bugbear, Plate Armor, and Green Dragon. We also got the Showcase Evolving Wilds. Hang on. This one is deciding it doesn't want to open for me. a Delver's Torch and a Guardian of Faith. 3 mana, 3/2 with Flash and Vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, any number of other target creatures you control phase out. You have Trickster's Talisman, Hulking Bugbear, and Lightfoot Rogue. Rare for this one is white. 2 mana, 3/2 that enters the battlefield tapped. And whenever a creature is dealt damage by white and dies, create a tapped 2/2 black zombie creature token and exile that card. So it's reminds me a little bit of watered down Kalitas, but at a much better rate. I think Kalitas is still a 3/2 off the top of my head, and it costs 4 mana. We have a Purple Worm, Blink Dog, and Plate Armor. Island, Foil Swarming Goblins, and a Rogue class. So at level 1 Rogue class, whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of that player's library face down. You may look at it as long as it remains exiled. Second, creatures you control have menace. And thirdly, you may play cards exiled with Rogue class, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells. Choose your weapon, Dungeon Crawler, and Druid class are our uncommons there. Our rare here is Zorn, so 3 mana, 3/2, an Elemental. If you would create 1 or more treasure tokens, instead create those tokens plus an additional treasure token. Interpret Outlander, Divine Smite, and a Drider. And we are on to our last 3 packs. So if you've stuck around this long, thanks for watching. Hopefully we can pull something cool out of these last 3. A reminder that all of these will be for sale on release day, along with more cards as well. So we have an Ochre Jelly, X and a green. Trample enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. And when it dies, if it had 2 or more +1/+1 counters, create a token that's a copy of it at the beginning of the next end step. That token enters the battlefield with half that many +1/+1 counters on it, rounded down. Split the party, check for traps, and Green Dragon is our uncommons in that pack. Moving to the second last pack. Got a Zariel's emblem there. Then a Treasure Vault. So taps for a colorless and pay 2x, tap and sacrifice it to create X treasure tokens. Then we have Aberrant Mind Sorcerer, Demigorgon's Clutches, and White Dragon. And finally, Our last pack for the day. Our rare is a minion of the mighty. A 1 mana 0/1 with menace. And whenever it attacks, if you attacked with creatures with total power 6 or greater, you put a dragon card from your hand onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. Feywild Trickster, Temple of the Dragon Queen, and Black Dragon. So, thanks again for watching. If you saw anything here that you liked, make sure to get down on release day to pick it up before someone else does. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy all of your pre-release events. And I will see you next time.